Mars in Cancer. So Mars, of course, is masculine energy. It's our doing energy, how we take action. So for Mars in Cancer, I would call it aggressively emotional. This is one of the placements that's more difficult, but they do have some strengths. One of them is that they have more energy for emotional conflict than just about anyone else. So be very careful about getting into an emotional fight with one of them, because they will out drama queen you. The sheer will and power of their emotions is extremely intimidating. When they are happy, they are euphoric and they fill up the room with positivity. When they are negative, things just go dark. And this is kind of a 0 to 60 kind of thing, because Cancer is the crab. They go into the shell and they come out. So when they're feeling safe is when they have the emotional capacity to flood the room with love, which is awesome. They wrote the book on passive aggressive. Their passive aggressive fights are not just fights. I would call them sagas. Like if you've ever watched War and Peace or read Anna Karenina or tried reading the Iliad, yeah, we're talking a saga. Mars in Cancer, as well as the lunar Cancerians, tend to be highly influenced by the moon. Their emotions are like a catharsis for them. When it is full moon, they are often even more flooded with strong emotions. For someone from the outside looking in, it can seem like their emotions are all over the place. But of course, part of this has to do with this lunar cycle. And it really is kind of an all or nothing with a Cancer in Mars placement. For them, it's all about if they feel safe or if they feel threatened. And when they feel threatened, that's when they become very defensive. This shifting of the emotions is also very inspired. They're usually the first one in the room to sense when something is off. And because they are so highly sensitive and aware, even the tiniest little emotional blip will feel like a tidal wave to a Mars in Cancer. Because they're so sensitive, they're very cautious, and they often don't act on things until they're feeling very secure. That's why it's a difficult position, because they have trouble acting. Because if you have to wait until you're 100% secure, then maybe the opportunity is already gone. Maybe you missed the window, or maybe it just takes forever to get things done because of that waiting until you feel secure. Also, because of this defensive mechanism, it can feel like you're not moving forward, but you're actually moving backwards because of these strong protective instincts. That's why the very strongest Mars in Cancer people are not only protective of their own emotions, but they are highly protective of everyone else's emotions around them that they care about. They are actively protecting and defending loved ones. This position, because it's masculine but it's very maternal, I would see it kind of as a single mother. It's a masculine energy that started out female, but it had to take over the masculine role because there was no man there. So if you have this position, it might actually feel like a single mother where you're playing these two roles, if that makes sense. And your masculine side is not like a man. Your masculine side is not simple and direct. Your masculine side is very highly complex. Your masculine side is intuitive. You often see this in families that have a lineage of men leaving, or men that were just deadbeat fathers. It can be something that's been inherited through generations, because of course Cancer is very linked to the family line. While some Cancer in Mars are like what I was talking about, very explosive, for the most part, this is all subtle, and you won't see all of these ups and downs unless you know them extremely well. They tend to hold a lot in. They are almost never direct about what they want. And decision making is almost always emotionally fueled, which can be a really good thing. It can be inspired decision making. You could be in touch with something that nobody else would see, like decision making in the art field, or something that needs to just be connected to emotion, like being a school teacher, being able to pick up on the energies of all the children. Okay, so sexually speaking, since Mars is all about the energy of action, it often is our sexual expression. If you have a Mars in Cancer placement, that means sexually you're turned on by feeling safe. Sometimes they also like the energy of the making the baby. Maternal stuff is a turn on. Creating a home is a turn on. Imagining getting married is a turn on. This is the maternal Cancer and the raw energy of Mars combined. So sexuality for them is almost always involving something with emotions and the idea of family. They're very emotionally alive and available when they feel safe. They can often be some of the most sexually expressive people you'll meet. They can be very sweet and tender. They could also be very volatile, just like emotions. It's a lot to handle. Some of them like an aggressive lover, so they can kind of play the dynamic of feeling wanted and needed, and you can feel secure because the person's coming after you so strongly. They need you. They're not going to leave you. But of course, that dynamic can cross the line very quickly, so best for that to just stay in the fantasy realm. If you're a woman with this position, you're turned on by someone who's the extreme opposite of your gender. So a very, very masculine man, someone who's very aggressive, someone who's very assertive, someone who can financially take care of you. This position could also be attracted to men that are older. A Mars in Cancer could also have the fantasy about someone just being able to know their every whim, being able to pick up on every frequency and all of their sensitivity without them needing to express it. Probably the ultimate fantasy for a Mars in Cancer. A Mars in Cancer woman could also be attracted to a man who's extremely feminine. So it's either one or the other. Someone who is very maternal, very tender, could be a man who is very artistic, emotionally in tune. So it's either one or the other. All right, hope you guys like my take on Mars and Cancer, and come back for the next video.